Hello and welcome to this webinar titled Transform Your Corporate Strategy Office, Harness OnePlan's Strategic Portfolio Management Platform and AI Innovations. If you like this topic, please feel free to take a look at our YouTube channel for more videos and stay tuned so you can register for more webinars in the future.
Today, we're going to talk about OnePlan's strategic portfolio management capabilities and AI, but we're going to talk about it in the context of corporate strategy and how we can make the corporate strategic office more successful in its mission to align strategy with all the execution and realization of the benefits of that strategy. So with that, let's move forward. So let's just set the stage high level with some organizational challenges. You know, most organizations today still struggle with strategy execution. You know, in fact, studies by consulting firms, the Harvard Business Review, et cetera, consistently show that somewhere in the neighborhood of 70% of strategies still fail due to poor execution. Furthermore, the organizations that try to execute on these strategies only realize about 60% of the strategy's value as far as anticipated benefits and value to the organization. That tells me that we have a lot of room to still improve in this endeavor. The high failure rate for strategy execution can often be attributed to the fact that things are disjointed, scattered, and uncoordinated in the strategy management process. And effective strategy implementation really necessitates that we get better at synchronizing our efforts by different groups across an organization and up and down an organization fully in order to hit our end goals. And an effective corporate strategy office with the right processes, the right methods, and the right technological solutions to help them can dramatically improve success rates. And it's been demonstrated through surveys and things done by the analysts in the marketplace. So for those of you here, many of you are in a corporate strategy office. Maybe some of you aren't, but a corporate strategy department really functions as a coordinating body. It really helps to develop and implement strategies that meet the needs or satisfy the objectives of individual departments, as well as promoting overall corporate goals, meaning setting the course. You know, where do we want to get to as an overall organization? And then promoting that so that we're all kind of rowing in that same direction. And strategy management, as another definition, is a specialized organization, unit, or a function within a company responsible for overseeing and implementing the strategic management process. So another definition here. So it serves as the central hub for strategic planning, ties that to execution, and then performance management. Are we really achieving the things that we set out as our objectives and our strategies, or do we have to course correct? The most widely accepted key components of corporate strategy tend to be the visioning, setting that course of that vision overall, the objective setting themselves, allocating resources to the things that are going to help drive those strategies, and then out of all the alternatives that we're looking at in organizations, prioritizing those are the ones that best serve the needs of the organization. Some of the roles and the crucial roles of a corporate strategy office is the fact that in our modern corporate landscape, we have complexity and we have ever-changing situations on the ground in the marketplace that we have to deal with. And as businesses evolve, the critical importance of a strategy office becomes more apparent, you know, guiding organizations and redirecting organizations as they need to be redirected as things change so quickly, and we have to be more agile and be more responsive to what's going out there. So in that, they have to understand the market and the industry. So have to have a comprehensive, complete understanding of the market and industry and trends and where things are going. And then leads by conducting detailed analysis of these things, identify opportunities, assess the potential risks that they may face in those things, and do research so that they can have data-driven insights that form the foundation upon which these strategic decisions are formed. And then in facilitating the strategic development process, they need to be in the organization the orchestrator of this whole process. They have to align organizational goals with the market dynamics to make sure that we're doing the right things for the company. And then it bridges the gap between the vision that they've set and the execution of that internally within the organization. So this involves a lot of collaboration and communication across departments, and also gets the perspectives of those subject matter experts within those departments or business units so that we can have a well-rounded strategy that reflects the overall organization's ambitions and their ability to deliver on it. We also would drive innovation and adaptation in this strategy office. Because we are in a rapidly evolving business environment and things are constantly changing, not only do we try to anticipate change, but we actually try to drive innovation to try to meet the needs of the new business models and the new things we need to do to meet those challenges. So this is a process of continuous improvement. It ensures that the corporate strategy remains agile and responsive to the emerging challenges and opportunities. And this proactive approach positions the organization ahead of the curve, ahead of its competitors in an ever-changing environment. We then have to create a solid and clear corporate strategy given all these things above, right? It's really the compass and the North Star that guides an organization towards its objectives. So they create that roadmap, they kind of distill complex scenarios and data into actionable things that the organization we can communicate to on what it is they need to do to help meet that. And it lays the overall foundation for goal setting, resource allocation, how we're going to measure performance and success. And it provides a little bit of clarity for the organization so that they know at every level and in every part of the organization how we can work and contribute cohesively towards those shared objectives for the organization. Ultimately, this is going to enhance our competitive advantage, right? If we do this well and get the jump on our competitors by doing the right things with innovative products and services and outperforming them. Now, none of this comes without risk, right? So because there's so much uncertainty in things, effective risk management is something that's mandatory within this, right? The strategy office kind of serves as a guardian, evaluating potential risks and offering strategic alternatives. And in the prioritization of what we're going to pursue, factors that into the overall decision making. So this function not only safeguards the organization, but empowers the decision makers within the organization with the insights they need to make informed choices, even at their own individual levels, as we're all guiding towards where we want to get to. So anyway, those are some concepts around the strategy office. The elements, obviously there's an overall vision for a company. We have our senior leaders who paint the vision for where we want to go, the aspirational description of what the organization wants to achieve in the future. And we create our mission. How do we plan to achieve that vision? So we kind of start to make that more actionable, right? Then we set the objectives, so the specific results that we aim to achieve within a time frame. And then we develop a strategy, which is a long-term plan that enables us to achieve your organizational objectives. And some of that may be time-phased. Then we outline an approach, provide a methodology for executing the strategy, and then we develop the tactics, getting down to the projects and programs that allow the organizations to execute a strategic plan. So once again, it's a process, but ultimately, we set the course, we empower people to work on the things that help support that course, and then redirect as needed as the situation on the ground changes. Now, some common strategy execution challenges. What are some of the things people face in trying to execute on this? Well, fragmented processes. Many organizations still work very much in silos across their business units and their departments that are not very well coordinated, and bridging the gap on that is not always easy culturally. Poor goal setting. Sometimes there's no best practices being followed, like objectives and key results, which are common and popular today. Having some common method that we all share. Lack of alignment. One of the things, not only just because we're working in silos, but because of strategic misalignment, sometimes, and the fact that people don't have a clear idea of where things are headed, sometimes the non-strategic and operational work takes over, and then we just kind of keep going ahead doing what we're doing without kind of shifting gears and making enough time for the strategic pieces. And sometimes we have the inability to track progress. Some of them are just using simple spreadsheets in different pockets of the organization, and it doesn't make the aggregate results or the aggregate goal or aggregate transparency happen. And this limits the ability to real-time manage the attainment of those strategic goals, not knowing where we really stand. And also people not connected to the strategy, as I alluded to earlier on. People in general like an order and routine, and we're more likely to fall into operational, tactical types of work where our efforts can result in immediate results rather than focus on the strategic, longer-term things we're looking to do, because one, we get overwhelmed with the work, and the other, we might not have a clear idea of what it is that we should be prioritizing. And then no measurement or leading indicators. Ultimately, you manage what you measure is an old saying, and it's paramount to strategy execution. So without measurement, how do you manage the people and the issues that can derail a strategic goal? So strategic portfolio management serves as a bridge to all this. Definitely the focus of the organization is in the strategic planning, where we want the organization to emphasize. And then the selection of the right things to work on to support that strategy is portfolio management. And strategic portfolio management has a number of dimensions on that we're going to talk about today. And then obviously you have to execute on that. You have to manage the projects, the execution of those, hopefully working on the right things to support the achievement of the strategies that were identified out on the front end. So today, the Gartner Group, and other analysts, are really saying that strategic portfolio management in this digital age is paramount. And then executing requires shared objectives of the business strategists and those executing the change, and then measuring true business value. And that aligning the execution of what we're doing on the projects, et cetera, and the initiatives needs to align with the strategy in order to achieve success. And this involves more than just, putting a plan in place. It involves people, strategy, and operations. And as a system, we need a system of strategy development, planning, and organizational alignment, have operational plans that support it. We need to monitor and learn along the way and adapt as we need to go, as we need to, and then form the basis for increased value by executing the strategy and making sure that strategy doesn't get stale, it stays fresh from having a more agile perspective on that. So strategic portfolio management, or SPM, Gartner defines it as a set of business capabilities and processes and supporting portfolio management technology. And if we really want to take in this digital age all the things into consideration, you look on the right. You might have objectives and key results in a strategic plan, but then you have projects, maybe epics for more agile types of things that we're doing, and more feature requests and features that we're doing, value streams for continuous delivery, products that we need to deliver to the marketplace, or business capabilities that we need to address or update or modernize in order to support our objectives. All these different complex things have to be factored in to achieve success at the end line. So leadership requires strategic portfolio management to support enterprise-wide strategy to execution, alignment, and adaptation. You need to adapt this. We need a definition of business strategies and desired outcomes, and then map to the elements you see on the right here: business capabilities, programs, digital and physical products or assets that we have, applications that we need to support these things, and the projects we need to succeed at in order to deliver. And then we need to capture and prioritize business strategies, manage the execution initiatives of these projects, and drive the achievement of these strategies, leveraging the core functional assets, or modernizing or enhancing the core functional assets, or developing core functional assets that we may not already have. And so we need leadership who sets that direction, that strategic plan, and the strategic office is part of that. IT functional management who owns the critical assets that are important for us to deliver in that infrastructure. And then the execution teams who need to know where they're going and what they're driving to as they deliver projects and products in pursuit of reaching those business goals. So some of the importance around this, our business environments are getting more complex, not less complex. And we need to manage risk, optimize our portfolios, and make sure that they're aligned with strategic goals. We have greater need for resource optimization. We're just trying to do more with less. And we're asked to do more, and we're asked to turn on a dime, and we face budget constraints and limited resources. And this leads us to need to identify and prioritize things even better, making sure the most critical projects and investments are where our resources are allocated, so that we can maximize the return and the value to the organization. And then there is a demand for data-driven decision making. If you don't have strategic portfolio management and a related system that has all these components to it, you may miss the point, or you may miss certain aspects of this that need to factor into your decision. And many things, as we were saying earlier on, factor into these decisions today. Agile and other project management methodologies are used in different places across an organization. Being able to harness all those and not having them disjointed and siloed is important so that we can get where we need to go. And then emerging technologies and business models, new opportunities and challenges. We have to evaluate and prioritize these opportunities that we talked about. The business may define opportunities and threats out there and risks in the marketplace. We then have to look at things we can do to execute in order to mitigate those or reach those things or take advantage of those opportunities that are out there. And then with our limited investments, we need to prioritize these opportunities to make sure, one, that we're working on the right things that are going to get us the most value, and make sure that we're not spinning our wheels with resources and dollars on things that aren't going to do that for us. OnePlan itself provides the path to strategic portfolio management and a complete solution for the enterprise. The strategic part, our business leaders that maybe establish OKRs and value streams that we're going to march to, and we're going to develop to, and we're going to action. We have the execution leaders who own the portfolios and who basically execute within those portfolios. And they may be using different methodologies. They may have different types of projects, maybe using more adaptive portfolio management or project management, maybe more professional services organizations as we're delivering professional services, maybe more agile approaches for software development and product development, and even product management. Those are all things that we have to execute on to succeed in delivering on strategies. And then the functional leaders that actually own the assets, right? That own the business and enterprise architecture components, and even things like the applications and the product portfolios, et cetera, that we have to at least consider when we make our decisions and determine our strategies, because they may be have to be updated like the rest of the things that we're doing. Now, OnePlan doesn't assume that you're going to be ready to do all of these things day one. And we meet you where you're at. We take a crawl, walk, run approach to these things. And the idea is to get started and get on a path to more strategic portfolio management to increase our success. And OnePlan has capabilities from end to end to support this. If we look at the upfront part, the intake, developing the strategy today for the strategy office, and we're going to talk about OKRs today, and developing those OKRs for your organization, that is where we want to go, the objectives that we want to pursue, the key results, the tangible measures of our accomplishment or the progress towards making that objective happen. That's within the solution. The enterprise architecture elements, to be able to identify things like business capabilities and application portfolios and other things that we have to factor in to align with or make sure that we address as part of our overall process, is within OnePlan itself. And then based on those, you get ideas and requests from your internal and external customers and other people within the organization to be able to factor those in and then align them and be able to say, how well do they align with our strategy? What parts of our enterprise architecture are going to be required? Those types of things are inputs into a good portfolio management process. And in strategic portfolio management, portfolio views of different perspectives are important. Traditional list views with KPIs and other measurements. Agile board views for things like program increment planning and other things for more agile oriented types of folks, and even roadmaps for more product oriented types of folks that we're looking at out there as well. Now, capacity planning and resource constraints that we have are factored in, and we have to have visibility into that as we make our decisions on selecting which projects we want to embark upon and which investments we want to make in our portfolio. And same with the financial constraints, be able to manage and track that in a very detailed basis. Now, what if scenario modeling? We talked about being agile and being responsive to change. You may have an active production portfolio that you're working on, but you want to be able to evaluate alternatives as new situations arise and be able to select ones based on criteria and have you give a high confidence of that redirection as you go forward. Now, on the execution side, connecting that strategy to execution is important, as the analysts were saying. And be able to have a portfolio that's aligned with the strategy and the strategic plan, and then have the detailed executions that go on support that portfolio, whether it be traditional waterfall work plans, whether it be more agile plans with sprints and backlogs, or other tools that you may be working with already in a siloed fashion, be able to harness those with connectors to bring that data into a holistic portfolio so we have more complete information, and even track things like issues, risks, and changes, and individual resource requirements that are available that all feed into that overall resource capacity plan that we talked about at the portfolio level. Now, the team members, being able to participate in real time and understand where we're at, having all things that might be assigned to a team member in this process, be able to have one place to go to update those things in a My Work area. Or if you have to capture time, if you're charging back, if you're capitalizing labor, if you're charging back to clients, whatever it might be, an inbred timesheet is something that's available to you to do that as well. And then the reporting. We need to know where we're at all given points in time, whether it be individual project status reports, whether it be dashboards at the portfolio level, at the project level, with a resource focus, or maybe how we're doing on the strategic plan. All those dashboards are available to us here. And one of the key things we're going to talk about today is visualizations. These visualizations give us an idea of how these things are all interrelated. We have a complex mix now of the strategy, the ideas, the enterprise architecture elements, and the assets, and how they're all related. We can now see how those are doing and how the individual components that we're aligned with are doing, and be able to address those things and analyze those things and factor them into our decision making. Now, we've also added AI. Sophia GPT is our AI assistant that will allow you, when you're in OnePlan, to ask it for assistance on analysis and take actionable things within the solution as we go forward. The key here is we want to make sure we're doing the right work aligned with strategy, and then once we decide to do the work, we want to do the work well. Now, we're talking today about the corporate strategy office as part of our presentation today. But I will tell you this, there's other elements in here that when we execute and tie to, that this applies to. So whether it be the project management offices or offices that you might have in there, an enterprise project management or program management office, innovation or transformation programs, IT, etc., they all apply. And the OnePlan SPM technology or solution harnesses that and brings it all into one pane of glass that you can then use to manage and align across the entire organization. Now, Sophia GPT, it's a game changer for strategic portfolio management. It helps us with AI-driven collaboration as opposed to, say, ChatGPT, which is more general purpose. It is purpose-built for strategic portfolio management. And it leverages Microsoft's Azure OpenAI, which is within the Microsoft cloud and has more compliance protections, et cetera, than what's available in the general OpenAI out in the open internet. It helps us provide things like intuitive interactions, gives us the ability to integrate data and analysis across that, and then simplifies tasks, gives us analysis, anomaly detection, other things like that that help us just get better at our strategic portfolio management. And it's available to us anywhere you are within OnePlan. We're going to demonstrate that to you today. Where we're at with AI is, if you look at where it says now on the bottom, we have an inbuilt AI assistant that's purpose-built for SPM. It leverages all of the knowledge and large language model that's available to us in OpenAI for general knowledge, but also has the training on OnePlan, on the SPM discipline, and can actually look at the data in your model local to you that will allow you to have it give you responses and analysis and guidance based upon your situation. Now, we are starting to work very quickly on the next phase on this, which is autonomous AI, which would allow us to do some things on a more automated basis should you want it to do that, rather than the prompt-based, language-based queries that we talk about today. But overall, putting AI into strategic portfolio management doesn't mean we change the practices or the concepts of strategic portfolio management. It's that we use it to help improve our situation there. For example, in streamlining portfolio intake and prioritization, help with the analysis and help us make better decisions. On building next generation talent, help our people get better and proficient, find the ways that we can best use AI to help become more proficient and maybe even free us up for more high value activities as AI takes on some of the load. And just embracing disruptive technologies. That could be just embracing AI itself, but as changes happen in your marketplace and you're building your strategic plan, help us make decisions on how to best incorporate those things and make those things part of our portfolio so that we can achieve strategies that take us into the next generation. Now, sample use cases for AI and strategic portfolio management. There is things in strategic planning. I'll show you some examples of that today. There's portfolio optimization, which is related. And then as you execute, there's work management pieces down in the work plan level. There's risk assessment, both at the portfolio and down at the individual work plan level. There's resource allocation that it can help with, and even investment or financial forecasting and analysis that it helps with as well. And we're continuing to span and add to this as we put out new releases of Sophia GPT within OnePlan. So with that, I thought I would go into a live demonstration and show you some things about OnePlan. And I think, given the nature of our topic today, I think it's appropriate that I start within the My Strategy area. Now, OnePlan has a bunch of navigations over here of different areas of the product because it's a full functional end-to-end piece that I showed you in that slide of the process all the way through OnePlan. But if we think about starting with overall strategies, you can model objectives and key results or whatever other strategic model you'd like to put in place here and model it the way you like. Now here we've got a simple hierarchy of objectives and key results, but you can also have a hierarchy here and do this by organization and by organizational structure, so that you can have these things layered and nested and summarized by those different organizations. Internally we use it for our own strategic plan, and we have a subset for sales and marketing, as well as product development and what we're doing in operations and those types of things, and having all those roll up to an overall strategic plan for the organization. Now in here, in this My Strategy, you can see that we have the objectives, which are really the overall strategies that we're putting into place, and then the key results, which is really the tangible measures on how we're doing on progressing towards achieving that overall objective. Now, if I drill into, say, an objective, you can define these how you like. OnePlan's a very configurable solution. And this form that you see here on this details page can capture the data that you deem appropriate on that. Now here we have a life cycle of this, a proposed objective, an active objective, and whether or not it's been closed. We can give it certain time frames or horizons if you have like quarterly objectives and things like that. And we can categorize these things with different pieces of data and metadata, right? And we can have different narratives of description and even prioritization mechanisms we talked about, and even some either high level or detailed estimates on what it's going to take from a budget and what kind of benefits we think we're going to achieve or value we're going to achieve on these. Now, the thing here is that we can have what we call associations. In this particular case, this objective itself is associated with 3 key results. And those 3 key results basically are the tangible measures on whether or not we're going to be achieving this objective. Now, anywhere in this solution, we can then take a look at the visualizations that we talked about and how these associate. So for example, if I look at a visualization from this objective perspective, I have no real predecessors and successors that are happening here that are identified here. And if there were, they'd be identified here. But I do have what's called a runway. And here I can look at how this objective is associated with 3 key results, but then also associated with them are 4 projects and epics that are aligned with the key results, which then align with that objective itself. And then these individual projects also align with different products that we're associated with, different applications, different business capabilities, and we're even tied to some value streams that we've identified within our organization. You can also notice here that we have colors. In this case, we've decided that the color is the status. And I can look at certain things, like I say, there's an application that's red here, and I can drill into the details, or I can drill into the whole element itself to take a look and see what's going on with that situation, or what's going on with that, and what other things might be dependent on that. At any given point in time, we can do that as we go through this. Now, from the key results, I could either look at the associations I showed you in the detail page, or I could go just drill right into a key result right here from the visualizer. And in the visualizer, a key result that was associated here actually does have a dependency. It does have a successor to it that's dependent on us. And it also has its own runway that, if we look at the key result, this is tied back to the objective, but this particular key result is aligned with 2 different projects and or epics, no products. There is an application and a value stream and a business capability that's associated with, so we're focused through on that. And as I look at the details around this, I can have my own set of metadata. I can have the different metrics that I want to design. In this case, we're choosing either numbers or percentages or dollars. And then here, the current number of implemented governance framework is basically we got 75 out of 100 achieved, or 75%. And then down below, you can see where we've associated with 2 projects, an application, and other things that we're associated with here. And you can, at any given point in time, create new ones that you want to associate with, or existing items if you have the permissions to do so. So once again, flexibility on how these all interrelate. And we can even put work plans in place. So if you want to put a schedule in on how we're going to actually achieve this actual key result, or things that we want to do, that's possible in here as well. Now, if you look at this from a next stage, this should spawn off what requests and ideas come in as potential projects in the organization. And this ideas area that feeds in and supports these strategies is something that we can do right here within OnePlan. For example, we could have, ideas here like a website redesign that may be aligned with certain things. And as I look down here, there is a key result: increased website traffic by 20% through SEO and content marketing efforts. So that's a key result that this idea would support. And we might want to factor that in to our selection of this and whether or not we embark upon this and whether or not we approve it. And if we look at this here, yes, this website redesign is lined back here up through the strategy and through the key result. And there's also a product involved that supports this key result as well. And as we go back and look at the details on this, you can structure this and prioritize it. You can give it dollar values and budgets, etc., funding sources, or whatever other data you'd like to capture around that as we go on through. And so the key here is to be able to capture this in one solution. Some of these may spawn off of objectives and key results, but ultimately this provides an overall funnel of potential projects and initiatives that you can in turn at any given point in time decide to promote, convert, and reorganize this idea or this request into a project or into an epic and carry forth with it all the data and all the alignment and association that we had with it as we evaluated this. Now, as we're looking at this and evaluating this, and I'll show you some in strategy as well, let's just say in the ideas area, we were looking to evaluate, what things we might want to work on. And we could ask Sophia, say, based on priority and ROI, what 3 projects should we approve and why? And it will take an analysis of that and give us an idea of what it is that we should maybe prioritize out of this based upon the data that we have in here. As it's thinking, it's really tapping into all the data it has from OpenAI. It's looking at what we've trained it on strategic portfolio management and on OnePlan. And then in an unlearned basis, it's actually looking at what's actively in your view here and the data that you have in your ideas area and factoring that into its decision. And here it's giving me the cybersecurity audit, which I got to do. And the reason is it's got high prioritization scores and returns, and it's also important for critical security needs and while providing a solid return. Voice assistant integration, same rationales that it's giving as we go through. So the idea here is it's helping us through a large number of requests, maybe help us prioritize and get some analysis that we may not have thought of as we go through here. These things turned into a portfolio of projects. And as we go into our project portfolio, we can see that we have our own structure in the project portfolio like we had in the strategy portfolio. And here you can see we've got portfolios, programs, projects and epics, and even detailed features, maybe for more agile approaches. And as I look through here and I expand this out, you can see that we have a portfolio or portfolios for different parts of the business. We have programs within those. And by the way, this hierarchy is structured any way you like it to be, in any way you define your organization. But here, notice that we have a bunch of projects and epics within this portfolio and within this program, and we're managing those in a way that is most conducive to that. We're either using OnePlan by itself for its planning, or we're bringing in data from other tools in the organization like Microsoft Planner, Smartsheet, Microsoft Project for the Web, or Microsoft Project Professional. The key here is that this portfolio can be managed the way you like, and in that you can get different views along the way. Now, here you can have list views with different perspectives, like more financial oriented views, maybe more prioritization oriented views, etc. You can have board views as you want to look at things from a more agile perspective or lean perspective as we go through that, and be able to drill into the details at any given point in time, like we talked to with that quick edit pop-up, like what's going off track with this red marketing project pro, and being able to understand where that's at. And I can see it's because the schedule's off track is the problem that we have, and be able to drill into those things. And even roadmaps. By the way, though I did not show it in the strategy area, all these views, whether they be list views, board views, or roadmap views, are all available in the strategic plan as well. And as we go through here, even dashboards with Power BI reporting are available to us as well. So the key here is that we got visualizations, visibility, dependencies all the way through this solution. Okay. As we drill into a particular project, you know, and we take a look at that, within that, you determine, or your teams determine, what information they want to capture around these things and be able to have these things aligned back. As we look here through this, I can see that this project is aligned with a bunch of key results in here. It's aligned with other things like applications and products and value streams. But the idea is you have visibility and factoring that into those decisions all the way through. And whether it be a work plan, whether it be a resource plan, now in the individual projects, you can determine what you need from a resourcing perspective, what you need or what your budgets are from a financial perspective, right? And then ultimately, we talked about resource constraints and allocation being important. Those things all roll up into an overall resource plan that will allow us to take a look at the resourcing and what we need, and whether or not the plans that we have in place are supportable by this. And we can look at this in terms of granular things like hours, or maybe just simply in FTEs, where I can see that Jim Halpert is actually almost double booked here in June, or over allocated significantly between May and September based upon the plan and all the projects that he is on. And once again, we can do things like look for alternatives. We can look for reconciliation and find resources that can actually maybe take some things off of Jim's plate. For example, if I look for matches of resources that might have availability, that I could say replace Jim with that resource up above. So once again, I can reconcile this to make sure that the plan that we're depending on for our strategy is actually doable from a resource perspective. The other key piece that's important from a strategic office perspective is the idea of doing what if analysis. And if you come in here and you basically want to look at doing say you want to do strategies and you want to look at what's going on with the IT group, you could come in here and look at a scenario whereby these are all the potential, these are the active and potential new things that we're looking at working on, but we have constraints. And I can see that if I look at it from a resource perspective, I can see that I have over allocations, that maybe this isn't exactly doable. Maybe from a financial perspective, I can take a look in here and I can see that it's exceeding what my budget targets are within there. And I can do different scenarios whereby I could come in and say, what if I looked at a $10 million constraint scenario on a budget? And I can select and deselect projects or time phase the projects in the way that made sense, and actually get these down to a project that is limited to a $10 million of budgeting within that. And to basically take a look at the things that are in and the things that didn't make the trip as we did our analysis, totally in a scenario model without impacting your production implementation yet. And you might even see in here that from a resource plan perspective, that this plan now is also doable, definitely more doable with only minor over allocations given the constraints that we put in here. So once again, models like this can be established as you see fit. You can even have specific models for a strategy office, right? Whereby they could have their own things that they want to do, and they have to determine and make those determinations and basically do their own scenarios whereby they put different constraints in place. And scenario one may have certain things in or out, and be able to analyze between those different scenarios what those are and what's in scenario one, what's in scenario two, etc. So the idea here is to be able to evaluate these things completely as we go through. Now, from a strategy perspective, just like we talked about in the project portfolio, these list views that are available to us that we can take a look at any given point in time with different perspectives. We have board views that we can look at with the different strategies. Here I've got different swim lanes, different columns that are by the actual objective themselves and the key results, but I could also take a look at them in a variety of other ways. I could have different swim lanes, etc. Maybe I have swim lanes on things like business units and other departments or other things that I'd like to deal with. The same thing on our roadmap piece. We can actually have those same roadmap views we have with our project portfolio and have those come into play here for the strategy as well. Now, as we look at dashboards, we have Power BI reporting that allows us to get an idea of which key results are actually performing, what our key results portfolio looks like and the details around that, and even look at things like objectives and objective progress and how we're doing on achieving the key results within those, et cetera. The idea here is we have reporting and visibility that helps you stay on track. Now, I would say as we go back to the presentation, there are certain things, the way we can use AI in here. Now, one of them is in strategic planning. It can help us increase productivity. It can help us improve alignment. It can help us better do data-driven decision-making and actually do some more optimization. And I'll give you some examples here that we could show where we might ask it in a strategic plan, provide a list of viable OKRs for the digital transformation office. So I don't have anything yet, but we haven't really done that. And we're going to say, what are some, maybe we haven't done this before. What are some viable OKRs for the digital transformation office? So let's ask it that question. And it says here, objective 1, enhance the digital experience for customers and employees, and key result 1 and 2, improve website user experience by reducing average load time by 30% within 6 months, achieve minimum 90% satisfaction rate on digital service user surveys, strengthen data-driven decision-making culture within the organization, and then key results around that. So once again, it's making suggestions and helping us develop things where maybe it might be a new venture for us. So once again, helping in that strategic plan. How about just within a specific objective? Here I've built an objective, and then I might be asking it, provide a list of viable key results for this objective. Maybe I'm curious as to what ways I can have tangibly measure this, right? And as it goes through, it's going to say, increase conversion rate of website visitors to MQLs by 15% by optimizing website design, user experience, and calls to action. Launch and analyze performance of 3 targeted marketing campaigns to generate at least 1,500 new MQLs in each campaign. Once again, measurable. Implement and refine lead scoring system to accurately identify MQLs, resulting in a 20% reduction time on leads. So basically, for this particular objective, related suggestions for OKRs that we may want to track. How about in this strategy plan, analyze business performance metrics and identifying areas for improvement. Based on the data provided, the following areas can be improved on to enhance the overall business performance. Generate more qualified, marketing qualified leads. Grow our corporate global business. Key result, achieve 100% year-to-year sales on growth. Improve customer excellence objective and a key result there. And showing us that it's at risk. So all these things that's showing us what's on track and providing areas that we can do. Even though it's on track, the company must ensure global expansion efforts are maintained to increase to achieve the desired sales growth. So once again, a caution there. Product engagement is crucial for retaining customers and maintaining healthy customer lifetime value. Once again, it's giving us rationale and analysis that we might not have had at a glance. And we have other things that we can do. We're not going to go into today. We can do portfolio optimization, where we can summarize and analyze the portfolio. We can help it select projects like I showed earlier on in the live demo. Work management down at the level where we can actually have it build, just like I have build OKRs and suggest OKRs, we can actually have it create a business plan or business case definition for us, et cetera. Identify potential risks and how to mitigate them, even down at a detailed project plan level. Can do those types of things here as well. Just kind of expanding your horizons a little bit. Resource capacity planning. Provide a sample resource plan based on what it knows about the type of project that it is. Financial analysis and prediction and corrective actions. And even help do things like status reports to your manager and emails and to your manager, et cetera. So these are all things that are viable as we go through this. So let's close with some summary and some next steps. Corporate strategy, like any department, has its own unique challenges for success within an organization. And OnePlan is designed to help those. And the analysts are saying that better alignment with strategy and business architecture is needed for successful outcome. Hence, strategic portfolio management has become more important in today's business environment. We have increased complexity, faster paces of change, It requires enhanced methods and approaches for us as organizations. And the introduction of generative AI is adding to the degree of change impacting the IT portfolio as well. So as you look at strategy for the overall company, generative AI is a disruptor, and it's going to have to be dealt with from a strategic basis as well. Now, OnePlan provides end-to-end strategic portfolio management in the Microsoft Cloud. It meets you where you're at, so you don't have to tackle all dimensions of what I here showed you today to get benefit out of it. And using AI, Sophia GPT can provide valuable assistance to make you effective and even more efficient at doing these types of things. You know, we live and breathe portfolio management. We get recognized by these major entities. Microsoft has named us their global project and portfolio management partner of the year, or its finalist in five consecutive years here. The Gartner Group recognizes us for strategic portfolio management in its Pure Insights Voice of the Customer. Infotech Research has cited us. Software Reviews recognizes us in strategy and innovation. So the key here is we do this. We're not a general systems integrator or software development. This is our passion. This is what we do for a living. And we do webinars like this all the time. Our next webinar is next week on Introduction to Project Management with OnePlan's work plan, revolutionizing the digital transformation office, leveraging OnePlan's AI and strategic portfolio management. The other two are part of what we call our kind of lunch and learn or more detailed how-to webinars on how we will use certain components within that. And so once again, we have a number of things that we do, and we also have a rich library of on-demand webinars as well. Now you can trial OnePlan. We do have a strategic portfolio management template, and if you go out to oneplan.ai/solutions and select the strategic portfolio management template, you can try OnePlan, or you can go up to Microsoft AppSource at appsource.com and do the same thing. We'll allow you to try it for a limited period of time. We're happy to chaperone you. Just contact us, and we're happy to help you with that to make sure you get the most value out of it and answer all your questions. So you can try a free trial. We can do a roadmap workshop where we can help you understand where you're at and determine what it might take to get you into this solution or a solution like this. Or if this high-level personalized, high-level demo I did today is not enough, schedule a personalized demo with us, and we'll get into the details and address your specific requirements and pain points. Just reach out at contact@oneplan.ai, or if you're not ready to reach out, just check us out more at www.oneplan.ai for some more research. Thank you for spending the time with us today. Hopefully you got something new out of this today. And OnePlan, we really call this the power of one. It's one pane of glass, one hub, bringing everything together into one place for good decision making and good strategic realization. Thank you and have a great day.